Hey all, this is Chase from the All Blue Crew playing the Gambler, Mr. Enel here. This is round one of my Wednesday night locals here playing Enel. We're yellow gang today in this little video series. We're gonna be gambling pretty hard. We're playing against Gecko Moria here. I am on a mulligan and I am going second. Gecko Moria did win the dice roll. Typically, what I'm looking for in a hand against Gecko Moria is ways to handle their in game. Potentially ways to handle their mid game as well. So this hand had a Gadatsu, has a Shirahoshi blocker, has a Kingdom Come, and then some late game. So pretty solid hand on my side. Opponent's going to go ahead and start off with a brand new. Brand new is going to just discard 3 cards. No Navy cards within that little pile there. And just going to go ahead and set up Moria to have a Perona in yard. Potentially for next turn. So I have to think about that as we're playing here. Gonna go ahead and take that first hit here. And oh my goodness, hit a Rocket Luffy. Debate on triggering it and then decide not to trigger it, as that brand new is not worth killing at this point, and that Rocket Luffy could potentially be a 1k counter later or be a way to dismantle a threat here. And brand new, while he could swing pretty hard later, I'm not too afraid of brand new at this point in time. We're going to and swing 7 at lead. One of my recommendations when playing against black decks is just go really fast, right? You got to go fast, faster than usual when playing Enel. Typically you starve some decks, but black decks you do not starve. And I'm just baiting my opponent, hey, please just KO this Shirahoshi blocker, because that's the Shirahoshi blocker that gains me a life if my opponent would KO it. So pretty great turn 2 play here. Just swinging 7, getting a hit, adjusting the camera there, and then playing out a Shirahoshi blocker. That Shirahoshi blocker is going to sit there. It's going to sit there all game unless my opponent KOs it. I'm going to use it just when I need it, just in the right moment when I need it. And opponent here, go ahead and attach 2 to brand new, swinging 5 at lead. Debating on countering it, I'm just going to take it. And it is a beige here. I don't normally beige this early, but hey, he's got 3 Dawn up and a Gecko Moria that needs to swing. I'm going to beige that Gecko Moria. I'm going to say, hey, you know you wanted to get that Perona out this turn, but no, sir. I am going to stop that Gecko Moria from attacking. Gecko Moria needs to attack to do a lot of things, and especially with 3 Dawn up, it does stunt Gecko Moria here. They have a lot of 4 drops to play, but not a lot of 3 drops, though he does manage to find a Brook here. That Brook is bait for Gadatsu. Gadatsu is going to clean up that Brook immediately, because Gecko Moria doesn't have a lot of ways to minus things, and Brook is a really great way to apply a -1 and potentially KO things. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a Gadatsu here potentially, or just a 6k lead. I always try to bait out counter first before I do anything, and this is in my brain. This is a slight misplay on both sides. We fix it, but yeah, I had killing Brook on the brain, so I attacked into Brook, which is not a legal play. I make sure that I'm actually attacking into something legal, and then I KO Brook. Had killing Brook on the brain, had killing brand new on the brain, but the wrong order of operations. We do manage to catch that, obviously, because that was not a legal play. We do clean up the board there. Brand new not ended up being a problem anyways, so triggering that Luffy didn't really matter. Now I've still got 1k counter additional in hand for this matchup here. Gonna start with a Hina here to -4 my Gadatsu. He does not have an Absalom in yard yet, but I definitely think he's got one in hand here. Opponent didn't tap 3 for the Hina, but I know exactly what he meant. He's a Nami player. He forgets to tap things, but we'll fix that as we go on. I definitely will make sure he doesn't make any additional plays. And goes ahead and pops the Gadatsu here, bottom decking some cards from his yard. Swinging 7 at lead at this point, and I'm deciding I'm going to go ahead and take it. Opponent's going to be going up to a higher amount of Dawn next turn. He's going to be going up to 9. There you go. He goes in and makes sure he paid for that Hina. He's going to be going up to 9 Dawn next turn, which is a potential Gecko Moria turn. So setting myself to 1 does set myself up for a Kingdom Come. Kingdom Come does trash your life until you're at 1 life and then KOs any character. So I want to make sure I have that online for a potential Gecko Moria next turn, just so I can insta-kill the Gecko Moria and move on with my life. That Gecko Moria provides a ton of value for black decks, so to be able to answer it immediately is really great for Enel. I do have 2 answers, 2 8 drops. I've got the Katakuri as well as the Kingdom Come. Opponent does ask me how many cards I have in hand, and I do fan out. I am sitting at quite a few cards in hand. I think that's at least 8 cards, and so I know a potential, no, it's 9 cards. I know a potential Isho is coming. Isho will discard 2 cards at random from my hand if I have 6 or more cards. Isho also gives my board -3 if my opponent attaches 1 Don to it, so that does make it pretty scary for him to be able to kill some of my things. So we're going to go ahead and start with a Gadatsu. Gadatsu's going to clean up that Absalom. I'm going to say, hey, if you want to kill another Gadatsu, you gotta Hina something and then plan another Absalom here. And then I've got 3 extra Don here to play with. We're just going to go ahead and continue to pressure lead here. Go ahead and send 8 at lead, setting Gecko Moria down to 3 life here. Again, my recommendation when playing into black decks with Enel is just go aggressive, right? We're not starving them. They're ultimately going to have a better late game than us with things like Rebecca and Gecko Moria. So honestly, just go face, right? So by the time I play my big drops, I'm threatening lethal, right? At that point, do not starve. Never starve a black deck. Always starve the law. You need a little sign in front of the law that says "Do not feed me." And by starving, I mean do not attack their life, right? That life is a resource for players, right? So it's additional ways for them to draw cards, and you want to make sure that leaders like Law do not get extra cards unless you want them to have those extra cards. Opponent here tapping down 8 Don. Does ask that dreaded question, how many cards you got in hand? And then thinking like, oh, you know, maybe I should attach 3 Don. And I definitely can suss at an Isho coming on. There is the Isho. Isho is going to make me shuffle up my hand. And I'm going to lose 2 cards. Now, I'm really hoping at this point that Katakuri and Kingdom Come are not the 2 cards I lose, because I really need those to kill this Isho. And we see a Kingdom Come, oh no, and then a 2K. So, whew, Katakuri has survived the purge here. So I can definitely plan on playing the Katakuri next turn just to take care of that Isho, because Isho is a pretty big threat on later turns. Opponent here going to potentially attach 1 and swing 6, but he decides because Enel gets a life back the first time he's set to 0, he doesn't think it's worth it to attack me and potentially just give me free cycle, right? Give me free cards, because I'll definitely have enough to counter out so I don't go to 0. Because he didn't set me to 0, potentially to 0, this does give me a better turn to just play out the Katakuri. So I'm probably going to send some swings at face here, try to continue to pressure his life total. We're going to go 7 with Gadatsu because Gadatsu lived, right? I'm happy when Gadatsu lives because Gadatsu is just going to be turning into a body swinging. He's going to take that one, and we're going to attach another to Enel. Enel's going to swing 6 at lead here, potentially just getting a 2K out. When attacking into Gecko Moria, I always recommend that you swing at least 6+. 7's obviously the good sweet spot here, just because Gecko has a lot of cards that they want to counter with, right? A lot of 1Ks that they want to get into the yard so they can reanimate them with Moria's ability or the Moria character. So swinging 6 and 7Ks does put pressure on their hand a little bit better. I do, again, play the Katakuri, put that Isho on the bottom of the deck. And passing back to the opponent here, I do have currently... I have 5 cards in hand at this point. And we're going to see here. Opponent's going to attack 6. And he's not doing anything else. He's just attacking for 6. So no potential Perona here to hate my hand. And I think I'm just going to use that Luffy. That Luffy that I kept in my hand all game. I'm just going to 1K counter out and save my Gadatsu. This potentially means, especially with 1 attack, 1K and another 1K, 6K attack into Gadatsu. I do kind of decide that Gadatsu's worth sticking around because, you know, he doesn't have a good way to kill it right now, because I know he's probably going to Gecko Moria. As soon as a Gecko does not activate their leader effect, right, and uses barely any Don, you can definitely expect them to play Gecko Moria. The brand new does go ahead and get him a Navy card to hand. That is the Sakazuki. Sakazuki comes in and can blow up a KO, a 5-drop or less, by discarding a card for 6 Don. And then he's going to go ahead and add a 2K to hand with Hogback. So kind of fortifying his hand a little bit and setting up for next turn. So again, keeping the Gadatsu is pretty nice because I can continue to just pressure their life with Gadatsu or pressure their board with Gadatsu here. Going to go ahead and draw up, go up to 10 Don. I am on the turn for Ace, baby. Ace is going to be coming down, likely to gain me a life, and that is a Rusher. Ace does have Rush, a 10K Rush, if I have 2 or less life, and so I'm like sitting at a pretty good moment right now where I can definitely do that. I'm probably going to just take care of board and maybe pressure life a little bit to try to set them down a little lower. So we're probably going to see me, try to take out Hina. I think I'm going to try to bait a card out of hand here. We're going to go for a simple 5K swing into 5. This potentially could get a card out of hand, but I think at this point, Moria is a little afraid of me killing him. right, with a bunch of big drops. So I think keeping counter in hand has become kind of very important to Moria at this point. And then I'm going to go ahead and send 6 into his brand new. Brand new is just going to go down really easily. We're going to go send 8 at lead here. See if we can continue to pressure his life total here. Because now he's seen a Moria, right? So now I'm feeling a little bit more pressure because I don't have a way to deal with that Moria. And that Moria is just going to hit me pretty hard. We're going to play out an ace here, and then we will gain a life off of ace. And then I think we're just going to attack, since he countered out, right, 2Ks out of the Katakuri. I think that ace is just going to come in. That ace, though, is in danger of dying to the Gecko Moria swing. But remember, that Shirahoshi that I played several turns ago is still there, right? Black decks just do not like killing it. And that Shirahoshi is going to be able to block for me. It's going to make my life a little bit easier and make the math a little bit easier. So I'm at 4 cards right now. A bit tapped out on several characters, and it's back to Moria's turn. What I don't want to see out of a Moria is just like another Moria, right? More value, right? Because that just puts more pressure on me. Though I'm like in a pretty good place right now to where I could potentially finish in game next turn, right? Depending on what's in my opponent's hand. Now, Moria has a lot more 2Ks than decks like Lucci, right? Lucci runs between 8 and 10 2Ks. Moria on average runs about 12 plus sometimes. Just because they typically run 4 Surus, 4 Peronas, and 4, what's the other, Sindri. So he's going to go ahead and send 6 into Gadatsu, and he's going to activate the effect. He's going to bring out a Perona here, and this is a misplay from the opponent. The opponent thought I had 5 cards in hand, or thought Perona's effect maybe read 4 cards in hand. He did mention after the game that he is very new to this deck. He is at heart a Nami player and more of like a yellow player. He does play different decks, but he's trying out black here, and so he does unfortunately make the mistake thinking the Perona was going to get some value, was going to be able to -3 on the ace, but unfortunately it did not, because I only have 4 cards in hand. Now we're thinking if we want to save the Gadatsu here from the 6K swing, and man, I'm really thinking about it, and we're going to go ahead and just save Gadatsu. Gadatsu's done a lot of work for me, and if potentially I'm going for a like kill turn next turn, then I want to keep that Gadatsu alive. If he does try to, swing into my Katakuri or my ace with a Moria, right, I could potentially just block with Shirahoshi to keep it alive, but we'll see here what the opponent decides to do. I think him misplaying the Perona, he said, definitely like messed up that turn for him, right? He definitely had to think a little bit differently on how he wanted to play the turn out. He does end up doing something that, that makes sense as well, but it definitely set him back a little bit in what he was going to be doing. So yeah, definitely make sure, like one of the things that I tried to do, I think going into that turn is like, yeah, you're going to hit a Perona every once in a while, but if I can like try to play around a Perona, like I will try to play around a Perona just because it'll continuously hate my hand. And so like I was very lucky this game to never get hit by a Perona, though I did get hit by an Isho, which also just sucked. So Hina's going to come down -1, Brooks going to come down and finish off the Gadatsu here. He's got 1 Dawn up, I believe, that he could use, or maybe 2 Dawn. He's gonna go ahead and spend 5. I believe 5 just going to lead. I'm gonna take it, because if I just hit something great, which is that ace is gonna be able to come down and just heal me again. So this turn, I am at a crossroads. I don't know if potentially I want to go for lethal. I do hit another ace in hand, so I'm like incentivized to play ace out to gain another life and rush. But I'm also like looking at that Enel and saying, could I potentially go for lethal, right? Could I go 7 with lead, 8 with Katakuri, and then 8 with Rush Enel, and then 10 with lead, right? I know he's got 1 brick in life, right? But I don't know what the other card is. So we're going to go ahead and start with a 7K into lead here. And I just need to get through with the next 2 attacks. So he does go ahead and counter out of that 2K, 1K. And we're going to go ahead and send 8K at lead. He's going to take it. Giving me kind of like a false sense of security here to make the play. I've already committed to the play, right? Because I've already tapped 2 Dons, so ace is not coming out of hand this turn, or not tapped, but attached 2 Dons. So we're gonna go and play the Enel, and we're just gonna try to kill him. So we're gonna go send 8 at lead now, because he just took an 8, but he's gonna go ahead and counter with 3 cards, going to 9. And then that kind of makes me change my thing. I was like, okay, I kind of don't want to give him the E-Show now, even though he's probably not gonna play it. I'm just gonna kill one of his characters to ensure potentially my survival, right? Because I've got 1 blocker, I've got 4 cards in hand, I've got 5K counter in hand and 1 life, and then Enel gives me an additional life. So think of me at like 2 life plus a blocker, right? So I need to be able to feign 2 hits to potentially survive here. which I could potentially do, but we'll see what I could potentially run out of the gambling. Right, we're in the gamble house right now with Enel. Right, this trigger could be absolute gas, but this could also just be like another ace. Right, it could be something not good. So when you play Enel, you have to you're gambling. Right, you got to be a gambler, man. You got to make sure Lady Luck's on your side. Or for the others, RNGesus, depending on which you hold more faith into. And he's gonna go ahead and swing 7. He doesn't tap the brook, but I know what he means. He's a silly guy. And he's gonna swing 7 at lead here. And I'm debating, like, do I just go 8k? Right? Do I take myself to 8? Do I just use the 0 cost event and ace and go up to 8? Or do I just take it? Right? And I'm like doing the math. Like, he has 7 Dawn left. Are these attacks going to get bigger, or are they, with 7 Dawn, he's going to be able to like do an 8k, an 8k, and a 6k, right? And I potentially can't counter those. So in hindsight, maybe I should have countered out of this one. But I'm going to just go ahead and gamble, and boom, baby, we hit the jackpot. That is the best trigger to hit as your last life. That is the 0 cost event. It just basically is double Enel ability, right? So I'm going to gain 1 off the event by discarding a card, and then gain 1 off Enel's ability by discarding a card. I just went up to 2 life with a blocker. He still has 4 attackers, right? He could potentially still try to go for lethal here, but his lethal just got a lot harder because that's 2 more resources that are going to go in a hand. I still have a 0, I believe the 0 cost event as well as a 2k in hand. So whatever I get, I'm going to be able to save with. And he kind of pivots, right? And he decides, I'm just going to attack ace for 10 and I'm just going to counter it. And then he's going to go, okay, let's go 8 into Katakuri, because he realizes, like, I can now try to kill him. So he's trying to make sure that my board gets smaller since he's no longer going for life. And that's where Shirahoshi says, all right, my time is now. Time to jump in front and save the Katakuri. And he's going to go ahead and go 6 into lead. And then he's going to activate, I believe, leader effect here to get back Hog back, because I think he's just going to try to add another 2k to hand that he used last turn to try to survive this turn. So going to bottom deck 2 cards, and then grab a 2k back to hand. I believe a Perona. He's got 2 cards in hand. One's a Perona, right? So I know, like, maximum he can go up to 9k. And I know the top card of his life is a brick, thanks to Katakuri. We're gonna take that hit. It's another Enel rusher. So, like, I'm feeling like really good this game now. After surviving that turn, because now I can just I've got 4 attackers on board. He's got 1 life, no blockers. I'm just gonna be able to attach and just go for game here. So playing the gamble, playing the lottery, won the lottery. I think I ultimately could have gotten out of all those attacks last turn if that wasn't the right trigger, but we'll see. We'll go ahead and swing, 9 into lead, and then 10, right? Because minimum he had to have at least 2 2Ks, which would not be enough to get out of 9, and then 10 would just kill him knowing he had a brick in hand. So we were just seeing, like, what all my life would be, and I think I had a 2K in life, plus the 0 cost event, plus I think I had another potential 2k. So I was doing good, right, if he tried to go for lethal the last turn. So that is game number 1 against Gecko Moria. Did manage to clean up Gecko Moria by going just as fast as possible, and we'll see you in the next video for round number 2.